Now, neoliberalism and the Washington Consensus, I tried to share with you on the last presentation, trying to provide for you a definition of neoliberalism. But these were strategies that were adopted by the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, and the World Trade Organization. Now, U.S. foreign policy under the presidencies of George Bush the Sr. and Bill Clinton pressed developing nations, especially Mexico and Central America, to lower their tariffs on imported goods and to create new export-oriented manufacturing zones. And this was largely to serve the needs of multinational corporations. Now, neoliberalism, otherwise known as the Washington Consensus, through its military, coerced Latin American nations to massively sell off its public assets, coerced Latin American nations to privatize its basic government services, and to submit national governments to the financial and trade dictates of the International Monetary Fund, of the World Bank, and the World Trade Organization. Now, this free trade model was first implemented here in North America, and it was sold to the American public as a solution to poverty, as a solution to jobs, as a solution to the immigrant question and the immigration dilemmas. So the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, promised prosperity for everyone. And as we started out this session, today NAFTA is being renegotiated, and there is protest by many to just rescind this particular trade agreement. But Canada, the United States, and Mexico entered into a permanent economic union which allowed multinational corporations to control Mexico's manufacturing, agricultural, and banking industries. But neoliberalism is, in the guise of these free trade agreements, brought instead unprecedented social inequalities, the immiseration and displacement of tens, if not hundreds, of millions of popular classes throughout Latin America. NAFTA drove so many small Mexican manufacturers and farmers out of business that millions of people were dislocated and unemployment mushroomed. So instead of reducing the pressure on Mexicans to migrate to the United States, NAFTA increased it. And so, in response to the implementation of the NAFTA program, the Mayan peoples, indigenous peoples from Chiapas, Mexico, are going to coordinate a revolution on January 1st, 1994, and that revolution continues to this day. And the NAFTA agreement included cancellation of Article 27 of Mexico's Constitution, which was the cornerstone of a native people's resistance under the leadership of Emiliano Zapata against the government during the Mexican Revolution of 1910. And when we take a look at Mexico's 1917 Constitution, Article 27 protects from sale or privatization native communal land holdings, which are known as ejidos. So the Zapatista Army of National Liberation adopted the name of Zapata and his revolutionary stance and declared war on the Mexican state, labeling NAFTA as the death sentence to all native communities of Mexico. So the Mayans organized distinctively in Chiapas as a message to NAFTA. And as James D. Nation states in Cultural Survival Quarterly, when the Zapatistas seized the public squares of the major towns of eastern Chiapas, they carried the symbolic banner of ecological revolution. For despite its religious and ethnic overlays, the Zapatista Revolt was essentially an ecological struggle, one that focused on two central questions: who controls the land, and what do they use the land for? Now let's take a look at Telesur's reflection on the 22 years of the Zapatista resistance movement. They posted this on YouTube this past January 9th, 2017. Okay, so that was Telesur's brief rendition of 22 years of the Zapatista Revolt.